If I were to ask you, as a Deepwoken player, or even somebody who just plays games with PvP, what the most important aspect of combat was, you'd probably say a few different things. Some people might say timing, since parrying or dodging an attack is crucial for staying alive. Others might say mix-ups or mind games, since confusing your enemy improves your own gameplay. While I wouldn't say you're wrong, there's something insanely vital to all forms of combat that kinda overrules these and makes these concepts look useless. That's the rule of range. Nothing matters whatsoever if you're sniped across the map with absolutely zero counterplay. Oh, just don't stand there. I mean, come on, this is Deepwoken, a melee game with close range options. So, what happens if we drop a nuke into its combat with the introduction of the ranged bow class? For context, Deepwoken has always had a diverse selection of weapons to build creatively around. Some builds abuse hyper armor, while others use multi-hits, but some of these gimmicks actually make or break builds. No build is ever truly the same, but most players must respect range as a rule of combat. If you're too far away, nobody can do anything, right? In the most recent update, that's completely incorrect. If you're out of range, you're just running the wrong build. Deepwoken has bows, what could possibly go wrong? As always, before we start, check out my new channel down below about all things anime, my Roblox UGC for new hair and accessories, and make sure to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you want to decide what I should talk about next. Thanks again. What's up guys, it's Punchy, and today we got to discuss one of the most insane weapon reworks in the history of Deepwoken and how you can abuse them heavily to break the game. If you haven't checked it out yet, bows didn't really just get reworked, they straight up got improved. Instead of nerfs and buffs, they got more combat options fundamentally, and also they got additional weapon picks to choose from. If you abuse these correctly, you can one-shot enemy armor and become unpunishable at any distance. Anyway, let me break down the basics and detail some of the tech that you might have missed. Taking a look at the reworked bows, they still maintain some of their past features. The M1 attacks for these weapons come out fairly fast with a larger than normal hitbox, and they still cost ether to use. Of course, if you land an attack and activate engage, you get some of that ether back, meaning these ranged M1s don't really cost anything if they do land. The running attack stays the same with the astronomically large hitbox that pushes people away, and that's still here to abuse. But after that, everything else about bows has essentially changed. As a core feature, by holding M1, you can increase your attack windup with an aimable range shot that travels exactly to your mouse. The camera has changed a little bit with bows, and you'll notice that, offsetting the rotation of your character to make it easier to aim, and it might feel a little bit jank at first. Regardless, charge attacks deal less raw damage than normal hits, but they control space. They're meant to keep enemies out or apply pressure from range, and that's very powerful. As soon as somebody starts charging, you kinda only have two options: respect it and defend, or close the gap immediately, otherwise you're stuck dealing with constant spam. At a full bow charge, the base damage being dealt is lower, but timing the flashing sweet spot boosts the output and does a little bit more. The real strength though is that the charge attack still procs talents and enchants, letting you stack effects or deal bonus damage from a distance. That's exactly why range becomes such a problem. Only one player is actually applying pressure. Talking about talents, all of these activate on a charged bow shot, and they're pretty crazy. The talent hard stop can knock enemies back, keeping them at range, and this is busted. Precision Crusher knocks enemies down instead of knocking them back, and Bodkin Arrow deals more armor damage to those with armor, and more base damage to those without any resistance. I will say, the charge attack itself is kinda hard to use since its windup is so insane, but it will act as a mix-up. This charge up innately is confusing for enemies to deal with, since you can either instantly M1 or hold it in for a longer build-up, and it's gonna take a lot of getting used to. That's enough yapping about charge attacks. Bows can also change how uppercuts work, and these break Deepwoken. Normally in Deepwoken, an uppercut sends you up to combo an airborne enemy, but bows, they don't do this. Landing a bow uppercut only launches the opponent into the air while you stay grounded. So uppercuts also shorten the windup on your charge shot, letting you fire immediately after, and they're meant to combo into each other. I will say the shot is reactable and not a true combo, thankfully, because confirmable bow uppercuts would be kinda insane. On the other hand, if you want, you can cast a mantra right after as well, instead of a bolt shot, and yeah, this can be crazy with mantras. Moving forward, the aerial attack isn't fair either, since you can extend your airtime and propel backwards off an M1. It's very floaty and fun to abuse, but it is air counterable and you can snipe them out of the air, so keep that in mind. The critical attacks vary per bow option, but most of them are ranged for us to mess around with. The Guiding Star triple shot crit stayed the same, the hunting bow only shoots one, and the Shade Bolt shadow weapon has a shotgun-like spread, and it's very powerful. You can deal so much explosive burst damage in such a short time period, draining armor and chunking HP. I think it works the best out of any of the options. With that out of the way, it's finally time to talk about how to cheese using the new Shadowcast Shade Bolt weapon. Specifically with the Shade Bolt, it's a bow that procs the shadow status on a multi-hit crit that deals high posture, high damage, and can be enchanted. You can see where this is going, it just does too many things. Synergizing with the already decent armor pressure provided by the charge arrows alongside the talent Bodkin arrow, let's drain their resistance entirely and chip them down from range. In order to do this, the best possible method is slapping the metal enchant on our bow to proc a multi-hit drain with a single crit. Besides that, with the Arachnid's Weave outfit, we can steal even more armor if our critical lands, dropping their resistance limit even further. This can be paired up with Iron Sing's Scrap Singer path to throw out draining blades on a critical hit, and it can get crazy very fast. Alongside slowdown moves that lock targets in place or keep them still, the Shade Bolt critical rules supreme with its insane posture output. Just as a precaution, once you charge up a crit, you really have to commit to that since it's hard to turn and very easy to get cancelled based on the windup. I find myself having to predict where enemies are going to go with the critical and charge projectiles since Roblox aiming is very jank with the servers. To me, setting up targets and bursting them down with a massive resistance draining critical is just super fun and you can try it out for yourself. So support or cheese builds will probably do the best with Deepwoken's bows since this weapon class doesn't really fit in flexible all-rounder playstyle. At the end of the day, bows are extremely interesting in terms of Deepwoken's current combat because they straight up break the rules put in place. In the game's past, range has always dominated PvP, and I guess we'll have to see if they learn from their mistakes. Deepwoken's guns used to have projectiles on every single M1 without any loading mechanics, forcing pressure from long range, and even talent synergizing with Fast Blade made parry trades extremely easy to avoid. These mechanics that were being abused were so game-breaking they were nerfed heavily or other systems were added to make them harder to use. In a game like Deepwoken, where close-up interactions happen so quickly, it seems like gap closers might be the solution to put an end to the long-range spam. Although, after using these, I think that bows aren't skillless and definitely require a different mindset completely, but I think if mastered with good patience and a gimmicky build, they'll be unrivaled in many situations. I mean, seriously, it's hard to compete with somebody sniping all the way across the map, but if they mastered the bow, good luck stopping them. As a tester for Deepwoken, I've actually tried this content during its development, gave my feedback, but now it's your turn to try it out in game and for you to leave your own comments down below. Bows are so much fun to use and kinda overpowered if you have a dedicated cheese build, but give it a shot and tell me what you think. Thanks once again to all the supporters who motivate me daily and directly help out the channel because it means a lot. If you want to join as a member for my channel, go down below, but besides that, my personal Discord, guild Discord, and my UGC group are linked down below, so check them out. Thanks once again, and make sure to like and subscribe. It's punchin' time.